Good evening. I'm here once again to present another honors project at San Jacinto College for my English 2311 Technical Report Writing, Section 106, and the title of my project is Computer Forensics. In fact, what is computer forensics? It's known as cyber forensics. It also is known as the science of investigating computers for evidence, and it's also used as a crime-solving tool. The aspects of computer forensics: it developed through the course of history, is applied in situation, it goes through process, and it also provides great career opportunities. Let's first talk about computer forensic history. The United States was the first one to develop the use of computer forensics. Criminals use computers to commit crimes, including computers using the internet or even violent ones. In the 1970s, a group of students were able to find access into an authorized network. And in 1978, the state of Florida became the first state to pass legislation that made unauthorized network access illegal. In 1984, several things have happened. The Federal Bureau of Investigation created an agency called CART, meaning Computer Analysis and Response Team, and also the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act was passed that made it a law to make illegal access to a network a crime. And the CFAA, which stands for there's another Computer Forensics Act that was passed in 1994, providing civil liabilities for unauthorized use of a computer network. The development of agencies: in 1991, there was a scientific group on digital evidence, which was there to develop standards for computer forensics usage. And the British Metropolitan Police Department developed a computer crime sub-department in response to the rapid growth of computer crime in the 1980s as well as the 1990s. In 1995, there became the establishment of International Organization on Computer Evidence, IOCE. Let's talk about now the tools that are used in computer forensics. Norton introduced two utilities in the 1980s, unformat and undelete. Unformat is the reversing of formatting a hard drive or a floppy disk or a flash drive. Undelete reverses the deletion of a computer file. Even though if you delete a file off a computer, it's still there, but it's somewhere in the hard drive. Even though you might have deleted it out of the recycling bin, it can still be there. And X-Tree Gold was another tool that was introduced in the mid-1980s, which recognizes file types and reversion of lost or deleted files. And hardware and software development is a continuing process of computer forensic tools. Now let's talk about the computer forensic process, which were 4 stages: secure the crime area, preserving evidence, establishing a chain of custody, and examining the evidence. Let's first talk about securing the crime scene. A response team goes in and secures the area and takes photographs of the crime scene. The team gathers all the computer peripherals like keyboard, mice, and other input devices. And also loose media like USB flash drives are secured, and everyone is interviewed that accessed the suspected computer. The next phase is that we preserve the evidence. Trained persons have to deal with the sensitivity of computer data since it is volatile. The main responsibility is to maintain the integrity of computer data because computer data is always constantly changing. You see, the RAM is captured first, which stands for Random Access Memory, which stores data on temporary data on the computer until the machine's turned off. And mirror image backups are performed, where it takes the files and copy them as they are so they do not get changed during the examining phases. And mirror images uncover evidence that is extracted from computer data, from disks. Chain of custody is the next phase. It places evidence on strict control. It includes the serial numbers for systems that are involved in the crime scene. It also lists who handles, who has custody, how the system was shipped, and how much time, and other steps that might be included in the process. It also describes where the evidence is located at all times. Gaps in chain of custody could result in severe legal consequences. Let's move on into examining evidence. The last step in the computer forensic process, mirror images discover evidence while securing the original system. Different types of documents are searched for potential evidence like spreadsheets, word processing documents, databases, photos, or whatever the case may be. And cache and cookies are used to determine what websites were visited during the course of the investigation. Let's talk about some of the cases that computer forensics helped to bring to justice. There was a serial killer named Dennis Vera, known as BTK. He killed 10 people from 1974 to 1991. And then in 2004, the police department discovered a floppy disk that was sent from the suspect. And they found nothing on the hard drive, but the computer forensics team were able to come in there and recover the lost files. And then they found some metadata, which is defined as data about data. And it said Dennis from the Christ Lutheran Church. And in the file details in a software called ENGL, which is a popular utility for computer forensics, was used to bring him to justice, and he's currently serving time in a correctional facility in Kansas. Now let's talk about a couple more cases. There's a murder arson case that involved a hard drive that was successfully recovered from ash and soot. They had to sterilize a clean room so they can be able to recover the hard drive, because even though a fire could happen, a hard drive could still work and they could be able to still extract data from it. And it also helped the prosecution develop its case against the suspect. And another situation involved the key logging devices that were placed in a corporate office. And the one thing about these key logging devices is that they trace activity from a computer to what keystrokes are in. And they were able to steal sensitive information, and they discovered the devices, and then they were able to use the computer system to bring the suspect to justice. And let's talk about now careers that involve computer forensics. There's two different avenues someone could take to get into the computer forensics field. They can work in private consulting agencies or law enforcement. Area of information technology security that's high in demand. It also requires education, and with the increase of criminal activity of using the computers causes a demand for computer forensic professionals. Let's talk more about the private consulting agencies. They handle cases involving issues like property theft, sexual harassment, or different kinds of it, corporate fraud, and misuse of corporate funds. People with strong technical backgrounds. They also possess IT degrees, but they lack the investigational background. And let's talk about law enforcement. Police departments have labs dedicated for computer forensic studies. Officers are trained to handle cyber crimes, and detectives use computer forensic for violent crimes as well as cyber crimes. How to get into the field. This is interesting. Computer forensic degrees are offered at different kinds of schools. IT degrees have some emphasis on computer forensic, like what I'm studying for information technology security, and the class I'll have to take in the future will be dedicated to a more in-depth study of computer forensics. Some forensics agencies require not only schooling, but in spirit